So Golden Dust class 233, we're page 140. So we're dealing with the idea of matbea, right? Matbea means coin. Um, but it also means the stamp, right? Um, so right, so matbea is stamped with the signet of the king, indicating that it has value. Um, a man could be God imprints the Sen of Elohim on us, right? So we're going to be discussing now what that means. Philo, to describe the soul as the seal of God. Interesting. So the neshama is somehow God's seal, and we're going to see how that is. Give me a moment to find. Let me see. This is footnote 12. Okay, footnote 12. Okay, so this is Philo on creation. For those of you who want to look at that. All right. Let me just put a bookmark here because I have to keep looking. I'm sorry for the delay in the video, but okay, hopefully on creation and then on bookmark. All right, continuing. Um, Elsewhere, referring to Bezalel, the chief craftsman of the tabernacle, he comments that here too we have a form which God has stamped on the soul as on a tested coin. Interesting. Because the human soul is not conceived of in ontological terms, but rather as a semiological entity bearing the imprint of the supreme authority. Forgery is impossible. Interesting. So again, he's talking about Bezalel ben Uri ben Hur, who was the chief craftsman of the tabernacle. And in that context, he begins to discuss how the neshama has the stamp of God, just like a tested coin. By tested coin, I mean it's on counterfeit, right? So the tested coin has the seal of the king or the seal of the treasurer. So um, now my father is adding that the neshama is not conceived of in ontological terms. So ontology, what is the beingness of the neshama? What is the existence of the neshama? Um, how does it exist, right? Uh, but rather we view the neshama as a semiological entity, meaning it's not how does the neshama exist unto itself, but rather what is the relationship between the neshama and God. So we discuss existence of the neshama by viewing the neshama as a semiological entity that somehow has the imprint of God, the Sen of Elohim. And because of that, forgery is impossible because only God has the seal that could create the neshama. This is a very interesting point. So it's almost like there's only one seal in the kingdom, and that one seal um, imprints the coins. And there's no possibility of forgery because only the king has that seal. So here, only God has the ability to imprint the Sen of Elohim of the neshama of man. Indeed, the rabbis described the progenitors of an illegitimate child as forgerers who had adulterated a coin. Interesting. So, Barminan, let's say, Eshet Ish, as relationships, and let's say there's a mamzer. So that mamzer is considered a forged coin, so to speak. Moreover, they have forced me to stamp my own signature against my will, declared God, meaning the neshama of the mamzer has Tselem Elohim, but it's almost like begrudgingly. If someone took dyes from the authorities to mint his own money, the coin would not be legal currency, even though the stamp is genuine. So somebody can go in to the Federal Reserve and he wants to counterfeit money. He could theoretically, right? Um, And it could be that it looks exactly identical, however it is they make the dollars, right? But it's not really legal currency because it's counterfeited. Philo 2 described the evil nature as a counterfeit coin in contradistinction to a legitimate coin. Interesting. So the Yetzer Hara also, so the Mamzer is a counterfeit, the Yetzer Hara is a counterfeit. And this is the words of Philo. Seeing then that we have found two natures created, undergoing molding and chiseling into a full relief by God's hands. The one essentially hurtful, that's the Yetzer Hara. So there's two natures, Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Hatov. So one is hurtful, blameworthy, and accursed, right? Right. The other beneficial, the Yetzer Hatov, and praiseworthy. Stamp the one with a counterfeit, the other with a genuine impression. So the Yetzer Hara, even though it's part of the Tselem Elohim, but it's a counterfeit. Interesting how Philo views it as a counterfeit. And the Yetzer Hatov as the real impression. It's interesting because it's all in the same person. Okay. Interesting concept. Okay. The idea that the image of God functions as currency means that man's relation to God is semiological. Right, in the sense that currency, when it has the stamp of the king, the image, the imprint on the coin, it points out to the king. And the fact that the king is saying, I recognize this, you have to accept it as legal tender. So similarly, the neshama points out to the creator, and being that the neshama represents an individual, God tells us, recognize this individual, because in Judaism, the individual as such has certain rights, right? And you can't rob from the individual, you can't hurt another person. The idea, okay. Similarly, the stamp in legal currency represents the political authority semiologically, like I said, because it points to the king or the governor or the government that recognizes that particular currency, not iconically, right? It's not the icon. It's not like there's something metaphysically in the dollar that makes it a dollar. No, it's a sign. It's a symbol. Referring to the image of God in man, Philo remarked that the image had been made such as representing God, but that the man was made after the image when it had acquired the force of a pattern. Interesting. So the image, the Tselem Elohim, which represents God, was made before the actual human being. So like that when the human being is made, he's automatically in the image of God. So there's no point where man doesn't have the Tselem Elohim, because the Tselem Elohim predates man. By the four, or let's see, footnote 16. One moment, footnote 16. No, okay. Back to the main text. By the force of a pattern, the force of legal currency is meant. Right. Now let's see, footnote 17. The same metaphor appears in Christian and Gnostic literature. See Emla Mikla. Thus, okay, we're going to stop here.